Welcome to yet another episode of Shortcast over Coffee. Today, my guest is Harnoor Singh. Harnoor is a software engineer and a popular YouTube content creator with 1 million subscribers. Today, I talk to Harnoor about his path to an undergraduate degree in the US, how important networking and internships are, and his YouTube content creator journey. So let's dive right into it. Hi, Harnoor. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi Bala, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Harnoor is very famous on YouTube, obviously giving lots and lots of important information regarding life in the US, education in the US, and all of that. And Harnoor has a very interesting background. A lot of the people who have come to the US have come for their masters, but you have come here for your bachelor's. Walk me through the journey. Why did you pick US to do your bachelor's?
Sure, I picked up US because, first of all, in my whole class, when I was in my 12th grade, majority of the students around me were choosing USA. So I was more influenced by my friends as compared to any guidance professionally. So I am from India, but in a state called Punjab. So, and especially in a city called Amritsar, where in my classroom, 90% of the people were like trying to go abroad. So among them, I can say that 75% majority of them were trying to go to US and Canada, and among my friends group, it was majority US and people trying to get into computer science, software engineering. So I thought like, oh, if I want to follow the path, why not go to US? So that's how it became like, US became my dream destination. I had done no research. Right now we have all the resources where people want to study and all that. But for me, my guidance was my friends, and they told me that US has the most scholarships. US has 3,500 plus universities. US has is the hub of opportunities. So for me, studying abroad was equivalent to going to US because just because of my peer group. So yeah.
Yeah, you know what is interesting is how different cities have different peer groups, right? I mean, I was having this discussion with Shruti Rajagopalan. She's a professor at George Mason University. And we were discussing about how peer groups influence us. And I was telling her about how majority of the people in the US, especially the first generation immigrants, after the tech boom, to be specific, are from these certain pockets like Pune or Bangalore or Delhi. And while talking to you, I'm realizing that there is an entirely different diaspora in places like Amritsar, Ludhiana, where like 75% of a class is planning to move abroad right after 12th. And I grew up in Kerala, and I don't think that's the situation in the south. It's usually you typically write an entrance exam. The whole notion of SAT is quite alien unless you are doing like a Cambridge baccalaureate program, or going to an international school. I think that proliferation is much more these days. But yeah, back in those days, if you are in like a Kendriya Vidyalaya or like a Bhavans or DAV, those kind of schools, um, it's not quite the norm. So it's very fascinating to hear stories. So that's typically the norm, is it? Like going for an undergraduate degree in Canada and the US is quite the norm in those parts of the country.
Absolutely. Like majority of people from Punjab go to Canada for diploma, go to Australia, New Zealand, Canada for diploma because that is for 2 years. You pay tuition for only 2 years, and after that, you can get a job. You can work in that country. So it becomes very fruitful. You are investing only for 2 years and you get return immediately. So that was the main reason people were trying to go abroad. Here, 2 years of investment and let's do it.
Yeah, and talking about financials, right? I'm sure not everybody is from a very financially sound background. Was it ever a thought in your head that you have to pay for 4 years of your and that to out of state tuition and all of that? So was it ever in the back of your head that it's gonna put a crazy financial burden on your family? How did you navigate through that?
It was originally. So average fees in US or Canada is around 20 to 25 lakh rupees per year. That's average, and it has gone up over the years. So I knew that if I go to the university I was picking, Georgia State, that they give scholarship. So I knew that over the course of 3 4 years I will be paying less than 30 40 lakh rupees. I knew that. So I had done my math correctly, and I knew the scholarship to apply for. I knew they have the right scholarship, which will reduce my fees as well. And I did my research. I was into internships from the first year I was in the US. I was trying to find internships, so that was clear cut in my mind. Ki I want to get internship, pay tuition fee on my own. So I had the path already in my mind, because US has been a hub of opportunities from the last 20 30 years. Every person who comes to US to study first year, and then internship, and then full-time job, and I was into it from day one. I believe in-person networking, and that worked out. So answering your question about fees, that yeah, it is expensive, but if you know about the right scholarship, you can make it affordable.
So you think it is absolutely possible for a middle class family? I mean, again, middle class is a very relative term, but let's say a family with a household income of, let's say, 13, 14 lakhs per annum, it is financially possible for them to send their kids to the US for an undergraduate degree. How do you?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is definitely possible. And in fact, if I want to give you an example, around 100 plus students from India every single year. 100, it used to be 100 around my time. I can say now it must be around minimum 500 students from India. If I have to guess, 100 to 500 for sure. They get 100% scholarship to study in the US, fully waived off. Because if you think about all the universities in the US, and including undergrad and masters, many students are studying for free in the US. That's the fact you have to accept.
Wow, it sounds like doing undergrad in the US is way more lucrative than doing a master's, because a lot of the people who come for masters end up paying out of their pocket. So that's quite an interesting revelation.
I
Why?
would I would like to argue, sorry to interrupt, that in my circle of friends, all the people around me have been on fully funded masters and MBA. I'll like to share few stories. I have three friends at Emory University doing their MBA. All are fully funded, and they negotiated for the scholarship, fully funded. My One of my best friend, he did MBA from Georgia Tech, fully funded, pays everything paid by the university, and he did MBA. One of my friend who did masters in cybersecurity from Georgia Tech, fully funded, and got it done free. I agree to your point that average person from India spends 30 to 50 lakh rupees in the US, but I have been lucky enough to be in the network that pretty much half of my friends are on scholarship.
What's the missing link? What's the hack? What are you guys doing differently from an average master's applicant?
We ask for it. US is a hub of opportunities only if you ask for it, only if you ask the right questions, only if you ask for the scholarship, only if you negotiate. So I can give you an example. You apply to 10 universities, one university gives you a scholarship, but your dream university does not. You can tell your dream university, give me scholarship, try to match it, otherwise I'll go to a different university. They can make it possible. You just need to try. People, what they do is, whatever offer they have been given, they accept it, sign in, and go for it. But US is all about trying to trying to aim for harder, and try to get multiple offers, and negotiate and ask for it. Even if you don't have multiple offers, just ask for it.
Yeah, very, very interesting insight, actually. I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing someone doing an MBA for free, pretty much. Wow, I'm clearly in the in the wrong network. But to be honest, is it a computer science thing, or do you have friends in other departments like mechanical engineering, civil engineering? Because what I have heard is computer science, it's much easier to get funding or a scholarship or even an RA, but not quite the same with other majors.
No, I think it's more about what background you come from. So, for example, a few of my friends who have background in accounting, mechanical engineering, coding, software engineering, all combined, that help them get funding. But it's more about what it's. So, I have one of my friend told me that he also read somewhere that matching for scholarship is like Tinder. You swipe right if the ideas resonate very much. So let's say I'm seeing a person with all the qualities matching, and I need that person to be hired. I am a research professor, or I'm some sort of department. All departments are sitting. They're like swiping right. Oh, I need this kind of guy in my department to help me out. So if they think that all the values in terms of accounting experience, mechanical engineering experience, computer science experience, yeah, you could be right that it could be more of computer science, for sure. That maybe because more computer science students are going to university, so more opportunities are also for them. More master students are needed for them. So yeah, it could be more swipe rights for them, but that doesn't mean other departments are always swiped left.
Yeah, on that point, so scholarship is not essentially free money, right? So you add some value to a professor, or explain me the whole scholarship process. How do you apply? Who usually gives out these scholarships? Do they ask for anything in return? Are there any caveats that you need to do this, you need to do that? Yeah, just explain me the process.
Sure. So the idea of scholarship is that you have to so first of all, let's talk about all kinds of scholarship. So let me answer from undergraduate perspective, and then I'll answer for masters. So for undergraduate students, it is based on your income. There are many universities in the US which are need blind and need aware. So they give scholarship because they have a lot of funding and they want to make it available for people who cannot afford. So that's why they call it financial aid. So financial aid is a category of scholarship, or you can call it just aid. It's a help. Aid is just a help that they want to give you some money in the form of tuition fee that you can afford to come here. And they do it only for the students who are smart enough and they resonate with the values of the university. If you're applying for MIT, then you have to be, let's say, their idea is that you should be academically well proven. You should be good with your Olympiads. You could have national state achievements in terms of physics, chemistry, math. They're very STEM heavy universities. They want you to have outperformed in some way or the other in STEM. Maybe you did a project in your 10th or 11th grade, which in let's say in environmental science help them. Like let's say you planted 100 trees and reduced the carbon emissions by 20% in your city, or maybe saved 15,000 liters of water every year. So you did something impactful with science and technology, and that resonates with them, and they will swipe right on you and they will give you the funding. Now, number two kind of aid is scholarship, which is like merit-based scholarship, like based on extra essay you write. They will say that, "Kiya, prove your merit, prove how you are connected and what you want to do for the university. Just write extra essay, and if your essay is good enough, connects with us, we will give you scholarship." And that's for undergraduate. Now, for masters, it is like we will hire you. So they hire you as teaching assistantship, research assistantship, or assistant. So they hire you and you work for them and you get funding. That's how it is paid for masters.
Yeah, one final piece of the puzzle is, how long before a student applies do they have to keep their eyes and ears open about these scholarships? Because the whole essay writing process is pretty iterative, right? You write something, then you modify, you kind of want to align with the motto or the principles of the university. So, how long is the typical process?
I personally think that it's first come, first serve. The early you apply, the early you get the funding opportunities. So if you are applying for fall semester, let's say the semester that starts around August, September, I would say by October, November of the previous year, when you're trying to apply for, be done with the application. By December, though, for sure. For most of the university, early decision deadline is 15th October to 1st November. So by then, be done. First week of September, start working on it, or maybe even early.
Interesting. So you come here to the US as a 17, 18-year-old. And I'm going to ask a very cliche question. I mean, but the reason why I'm asking this is the experience of someone who is coming to the US at 21 is completely different from someone who's coming at the age of 17, right?
Correct.
So how was the first week in the US? Culture shocks, difficulty blending in. Walk me through your first few days in the US.
Okay. So first of all, my experience was very unique. So I am not a spoiled kid. I have been throughout my life forced to eat karelas. I mean, the bitter gourd, I think we say. So I have been forced to eat whatever food my parents gave me, I ate it. Whether it's bitter, sweet, less salty. So I never faced any problem with food the first week I came. Whether it was bland, I never felt it. Never complained, and I was pretty much okay with the food we had. I didn't join any dining hall from first week. I was like trying to cook food like cereal in the morning, bread omelette for lunch, and for dinner I'll eat peanut butter sandwich. Like that was my life. So and a lot of milk, a lot of yogurt. That's all I could cook in my college days. And other than that, it was struggle. It felt sad that I cannot have homemade food. It felt sad that I cannot be around my parents. Because at the age of 18 it was my first time living away from parents. It's very emotional. It is away from them, and it's hard to find friends, hard to make friends. And I sort of felt like I'm in a different country. What is the formula of making friends? Because
That is a very important point because a lot of people who come for their masters would have already made friends in their undergrad, and some of them would land up here in the US. But for you, it's like like a entirely different chapter of life, right? After 17, you're probably leaving. But having said that, you said 75% of them landed here, so that's also there. But yeah, finding friends might have been difficult. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, but as you said, I mean, I didn't feel very lonely because a lot of my classmates are in the US, but they're not in my college. So I didn't come with any classmate from my high school to college. So it definitely felt like a cultural shock. So I was rethinking the formula of making friends, and the first formula that Indian in our heart already knows is that he go to any random class and, oh, are you from India? Are you from Bharat? Oh, yes. Yeah, let's do the homework together. That's the formula. So that's what I did in every class. And some were Indian Americans. They were like, oh, yeah, my parents are from India. It happens, right?
Nice accent. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from Fremont, but my parents are from India.
So that's what we get to hear all the time. Yeah, my parents are from India, so like they don't resonate with our culture very much. And I try to ask him, oh, do you know Hindi, Gujarati, or any of the languages? Oh, he said, oh, a little bit, but I'm not comfortable in talking in those languages. So I got to know that, yeah, like first of all, the way that I'm trying to connect with them will not work out. So because they're not very much attached to our culture as we are. So like I just tried to connect with them from academic point of view. So like you like CS, not like CS. But for other Indians, yeah, you're from India, Bharat, yes. So it works out.
Yeah, I have actually seen two sides of the spectrum with kids born in the US. Some of them are very attached. I think it has a lot to do with parenting and the whole community that you grow up with. Some of them are more attached to their culture than Indians who grew up in India. It's actually very fascinating the spectrum of people that you meet. Yeah, but yeah, coming back to the college, I think I missed asking one question, which was related to the application and picking the colleges. So I know you picked Georgia State University, but any 2 cents you wanna give someone who is planning on applying on what is at the end of the day, you want a degree, you want a job, you want to make your life better, right? That's the ultimate goal. um, so there are two schools of thought. One is go to a top tier university like an Ivy League or a Stanford, which is great, again, for networking, right? It has a fantastic alumni network, which you can cash in on. But at the same time, you're looking at ROI. You're looking at a lower fee that gives you the best bang for your buck. So give me the split up of like what should typically people look for.
Got it. That's a very, very good question. First of all, in terms of ROI, like you're saying that how to decide universities based on the ROI, right?
Yeah, in a way that see, for instance, we are going through a very interesting time as well. So AI is catching up. There are a lot of ed tech companies now, lots of free resources. The internet is such a beautiful playground. Um, Having said that, there is also a fraction of people who are saying that universities are going to be dead. So you come to the US, how about choosing a not so great university and upskilling yourself through these courses and make yourself ready for the job market versus pay all the heavy bucks and go to a Carnegie Mellon or a Yale or and so on. Yeah.
Okay, so my formula would be choose the right city, not the right university. I mean, I could be wrong, but my
This is
formula.
so true. I agree. I totally agree with. Yeah.
So my formula is like if you want to be in tech, for other majors you can choose any random city, but if you want to be in tech, I mean, I personally think if you want to go to your dream university like Harvard, if you there's a Three Idiots dialogue. To be in the right university, you don't need to pay the fees of that university. You need their uniform. So you can get that uniform for free if you're in the same city. You can just like walk into Harvard. Like Harvard, if you have some friends in Harvard, they can tell you about their networking events where BCG, McKinsey, all of these companies are coming. Just go into that networking event if it is allowed. Like just go there, network with the people. You will be able to get your network
You know,
without going to Harvard.
I recently watched a YouTube video of a guy who would just walk into university classes. And he did not enroll for any class. He would just walk into a class and he would just upskill himself. And yeah, he doesn't have an official degree, but learned a lot and does a pretty good job. So yeah, I think totally makes sense. So just walk into career fairs or networking events, and yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. All you need is uniform. So that's why if you're in the right city with the right people, you can like form great connections, and those connections and relationships definitely I think right way is first form a network and form relationships with them. So with right relationships and right people, you can definitely grow with them and be like them. So as you say, like you're average of 5 people in the classroom, so you need to find that smart classroom and be at that level.
That makes sense, and I think it's. I think people are also smarter because you see more people going to a northeastern university in Boston or a San Jose State in San Jose or a UT Dallas because they have kind of figured it out. I guess that
Absolutely.
they're not all that expensive universities too. I believe don't have the numbers, but that's probably helping. So I guess the TLDR would be pick the city and not the university, and the university doesn't quite matter. Is that a fair assumption?
Absolutely. Only if you can step out of your room and network. So if you're like an introvert, you go to even like a normal city, it's okay. Like if you're just gonna network on LinkedIn and just form connections on LinkedIn, and which doesn't work all the time. I personally think if you're networking in person, it works 5x better or 10x better than you do just on LinkedIn. Maybe one person will reply and maybe a recruiter will apply. But when you go out of your comfort zone and talk to the place where recruiters are coming, you form connections, it works better.
I have heard you talk about this network so many times. I mean, even in our first call, it kind of hit me. You said network is equal to net worth, and it's the first time I'm hearing it, and I found it really fascinating. So, um, when it comes to network, is it all about just building friends, or you're talking about professional networking? And what are some of the ways that people can go about it? I mean, I live in San Francisco Bay Area, and I see meetups where there are professional meetups where, if you're a co-founder or want to do the entrepreneurial path, there are these once in 2 weeks meetups at a coffee shop. But again, that's one way. And what have been some of the different ways that you have built your network over the years?
Sure. I personally think there are two ways to describe it. So, network doesn't mean he or she is your great friend. So, network doesn't mean always friends, because network I'll define as in the professional world, whenever you need help, let's say referral or maybe job search help, they will help you out, and if they need help, you will help them out. I can give you a very good example. I remember the one of the startup I used to work at, the CTO and the CEO were hired as a bundle, and they were hired together just because of the network. So they used to work at a very popular company. I cannot take names, but so the one of the CEO resigns, and now the shareholders need a new CEO. So they reach out to among their connections. They're like, "Oh, this guy is already VP of X company. Let's reach out to them." So they reach out to them, bring them to interview, and they hire them as CTO and CEO. So that's how network is helping. So network is in the professional world. You're connected on LinkedIn, and if each other, one of you needs help in the job search, you will connect and do a coffee chat if needed. But usually it's just about job related. Connections, relationships are something when you want to actually go one step ahead, find a common zone. Let's say one person like biking like me or cycling. Every Monday, every 2 weeks on Monday, there on Georgia Tech, there is a biking event. I will ask them, Kiar, you like biking? Let's go biking. If you like Indian food, let's have Indian food together. That's like one step above network, and you want to uh, make friendship.
Oh yeah. So can you develop a friendship based off of a professional network? Like you said, biking and doing common activities together is one way, I guess. But have you been successful in developing a professional relationship into a friendship?
Absolutely, many times it definitely works out. And where it doesn't work out is if you use Tinder or Bumble for these kind of things. There's also Bumble business side which people use, not just the dating side, but like if you use that, that doesn't work very well as compared to LinkedIn. And if you, I mean, I think first of all, it does work if you want to find someone and just try to bring them on a common zone, but it works only if you have some commonalities like biking, Indian food, or something like that. If you don't have some commonalities, they just remain network.
Fantastic. So after your bachelor's, you went the typical H-1B route, I presume?
Yeah, I'm in that route. So yeah, I was on student visa, and then from student visa to H1B route, and I
Great.
I didn't get picked up 3 times, sorry, 2 times, and third time it worked out.
Third time is the charm, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So, Harnoor, going back to your college days, you mentioned to me that you were looking for internships and, trying to get a network and get into the industry right from day one, I presume. So, I see that you did two internships. How much is an internship relevant and important? And was that a stepping stone for you for better opportunities?
That's a very good question. So, in terms of internships, I think they were eye-opening to me. So, when you are in college, like you are very restricted to the theoretical parts that a teacher is teaching. In today's world, you want to learn a programming language or whatever college is teaching, you can see on YouTube. CS50 by Harvard is already posted. There is also MIT classes that are already posted on YouTube. You can check out. So, it's not about the classes you want to watch, it's more about the practical experience you can have. That is only possible by two ways, which I see for a tech guy. One is like going to GitHub, doing open source contribution, looking at other people's project, but then cannot interact with them easily. But office, by going to work, by going to a company's office and doing internships there, I can interact with them, get their ideas, and work with them. That just opens your mind and tells you where you want to get in, whether it's AI, machine learning, web development, or could be mobile app development. There are so many things to do, and in those things also you can pick up a language and the right tools. So you can narrow your scope down when you first do internship, and you have right idea that I want to get expertise in back end, front end, or wherever.
Great. And was it easy to get an internship? Because we are going through this quite period of a lull, I would say, where it's getting very very difficult for people to get an internship. So how was the process like? And was it super easy? Was there a hacker rank or a coding round, etc.?
So it was extremely difficult, I'll be honest. Like I reached out to almost 100 companies, tried my best, figured out referrals from everywhere. I reached out to even like connections of connections on LinkedIn. Like wherever I find someone working in Macy's, Salesforce, Norfolk Southern, NCR, every single company I reached out to, every single company I first applied online. And I think the biggest and the best thing I had done was that in the entire journey, the moment I used to see a rejection, I used to open my resume again and reiterate why it didn't work out. So fix my resume 10, 20, 30 times and continue to evolve. And since I was doing it from first semester, it worked out.
So start early, like pretty much, I mean, somewhere have that hidden message, right? When it comes to university application or internship, start from day one is kind of the USP.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have been going through your YouTube channel quite a bit, and what is interesting is, having been here for so many years, you have a knack of looking back at India and looking back at some of the work that's being done in India. What have been some of your good revelations? Like, wow, this is going on in India, which is great because I see you interview quite a few people during your trips, and they are fantastic. So, give me a bit of insight about how does it feel to look back at India after moving here and working here.
I think talent wise, India is evolving really fast. I personally think there is no shortage of talent in India. People say that 50% of the engineers or 80% of engineers in India are not employable. I personally think that that could be true, but I personally think that like in terms of talent, they have everything. They have the thirst to learn more. Because with Geo in India, with ChatGPT in India, the amount of knowledge everyone has when I talk to them, even in 11th, 12th grade, I get blown away. But I think the problem is people are not able to find that network everywhere. These kind of people are only in Bangalore, Hyderabad, or maybe Mumbai or Delhi. Like other places, they don't have the right connections to learn at their speed. So I think when you want to increase your pace of learning, you need some accountability partner. You find so that's why I think, like, as we say in India, the gap between rich and poor is increasing. I think because of same as the case in tech as well. So like-minded people are so attached to each other that the people who may be not as good in coding, they are bit the distance between them is bit far. So those who are able to try alone and stay alone and find connections online, they are able to succeed. But those who don't have the right connections are not able to grow. So by going to these cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, I was blown away that India is full of talent.
That's amazing, and I think the opportunity and the biggest complaint was the pay, and I think that gap is also quite reducing quite a bit. Yeah, and you mentioned about AI, Chat GPT and all of that. How do you see the future of software engineering? Have you seen any change in your own role, and how much of AI tools do you use in your current role?
Absolutely, that's a very very good question. I mean, I think I have my work productivity has definitely gone up by 2x 3x. I'll be honest, I'm able to achieve more things by using the AI tools, and I'll be able to learn faster. Let's say I see a new tool, like let's say um, a good example could be, let's say I don't know what a reverse proxy is. I sometimes don't understand reading Wikipedia definitions or Google definitions. I can go to my friend ChatGPT and say, explain Nginx or reverse proxy in simple to simple words with examples. I learn quickly then. Like, otherwise I had to read 5 articles and then have an understanding, but now ChatGPT simplifies it, and then I can read more.
Is that gonna bring down the pay for an average software engineer getting hired because you are not adding that much of a value, right? This is, I mean, again, it's not my own thought, it's just things that I hear on the internet. But I don't know if that trend has started, but I feel like people are started to the median income is starting to come down a little bit.
I'll be very honest, I don't think so it's going to happen. I think people are still able to add the same value. The difference is now ChatGPT is helping add the same value. So, but who is making ChatGPT add that value? Us. So it's a combination of ChatGPT plus us adding that value. So A majority of credit goes to us. If you talk about 10 years earlier, like we used to say that Google is helping half of the time, right? You search on Stack Overflow and find an answer and put it on code. That doesn't mean that you say that it's yeah, I didn't code it. Stack Overflow helped me code it. You still say that you did the work. Same as the case with now with ChatGPT. You say that I got it done, whether I use ChatGPT or not. That's a that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a fantastic times that we are living in. Like everyone is helping each other raise the bar up. So I think it's a great time to be around. Harnoor, you briefly mentioned about a portion of your school moving to Canada. What have been some of your interactions with them? Is Canada still a viable option? There have been criticism about the life in Canada, about the high inflation. um, I don't think the I don't think the medical expenses as much, but then you have to wait for long long periods of time to get even an emergency appointment. And uh, so so for someone who is debating between the US and the Canada because of obvious reasons, right? Immigration to the US is tougher. And who is looking at Canada as a very serious option. What have been some of your insights based on your interactions with your friends?
Okay, that's a very big debate, honestly, US versus Canada. But I can first of all tell you that in terms of healthcare, answering your first question, the lines are definitely longer for getting a specialist appointment. But the problem which comes down to be longer lines is like there are less cities. Like the cities are very densely populated, and they have only like three or four main cities where there are appointments available. So that becomes the problem. And also, there have been cases. I saw a huge documentary on healthcare system of Canada. It is breaking because there is lack of privatization. So things need to be fixed on that point of view. But if you forget about that, I personally think that moving to Canada, if you are in the struggle of H-1B visa like us, I personally think that it is for of more for the people who are above 35, 40 or above. Because at the young age, around 25 to 35 or till the age of 40, we are in high demand for jobs. If let's say tomorrow a recession hits, we still have a chance of getting a job again, maybe with consultancy or maybe with a new company. We still have a job after the age of 40. When a recession comes, and you could be more nervous in finding a new job, because you'll be like, yeah, I at the age of 45 is performing the same level what a 30-year can do or 25-year can do. So you feel like you're not as in high demand. Even companies treat the same way. So that's why people after the age of 40 switch from development to management. So that's why I think after the age of 40, it's kind of harder to find jobs. So that is the point when people try to go to Canada, and that is the point when people think that like if a recession comes, their stakes are higher. They'll straight be deported on H-1B visa, and Canada gives that security.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like after the so-called L6 or whatever level, right? I mean, there is a bit of a plateau. Yeah, you can level up to be a principal engineer, senior principal engineer, but I think going up the ranks as a pure tech guy is kind of limited, which is when people start exploring roles like product management or, like you said, just people manager in general. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Hanu, let's move to your YouTube or creator journey. What made you start a YouTube channel? I see you started about 3 years ago with a video called "Meet My Colleagues" or Co-workers. Um, when you started it, did you think that this will become so big? You have 1 million subscribers. It's not an easy feat. Are you amazed at how far you have come?
I'm definitely very amazed. I'll be honest, I started around 5 years ago. I had less than around 1,000 subscribers when I won a giveaway by Marcus Brownlee, MKBHD. So he did an iPhone giveaway, and I won that giveaway somehow. And that was the
Oh,
real big.
that's a little known fact. Wow. Okay.
So that's the real beginning of the journey. I got free iPhone, and like after that point, it changed. Everything changed. So, so
So you
like I
were
was.
so
Uh-huh.
so you had 1,000 followers for how long since you started?
Uh, it took me almost three months to get 1,000 subscribers
That's a
on
quite a
YouTube.
quite a good
And
growth,
then
yeah.
after that, I was still continuing to make videos on study abroad, my F1 visa, and all that. But it somehow worked out. Yeah.
Nice. So you never had this. So you were doing it as a side. I mean, as a hobby, pretty much. I can't even call it a side hustle. You were really passionate about it, and you were just doing it for fun. Did you realize that you were adding some kind of a value to others? Were the first few comments very, comforting or warming in the sense that people are getting some sort of a value out of what you're creating?
So when I meet students who get accepted and they send emails to me, that's when I figured out, oh, this content is genuinely adding value. That was the best part about the journey. That's what keeps me motivated. Like people thanking me, and I try to reply to most of them still now who emails me, and I genuinely feel a connect with them, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, so but there was no filmmaker hiding inside you, right? So walk me through some of the process about how you make your videos. How do you script them? How do you edit them? Do you outsource editing? How do you manage your time? All of that.
Sure, I do have. I mean, first of all, starting with the flow. I mean, I personally do not script them, and I mean, I just write some bullet points. Like these are the 5 points I want to talk about, and I just genuinely talk from my heart as compared to reading from somewhere. And it took me a lot of time to reach at the point that I can just read at a bullet point and talk about it. But after hundreds of videos and hundreds of takes, it worked out. I reached this point. I'm very grateful for that. And then after that, I have been editing for 4 years straight by myself, and later on realized that it could be tiring for my eyes. My power of my eyes was increasing because I have to code and like work 8 hours and then come home and then again on screen. It was a burden for my eyes. So the power, my eyesight was like, I'm farsighted, so the power increased, and that's the point I realized that I should be outsourcing some of it. So I started giving half of the videos to editors, and slowly I'm trying to give all of them to editors
How,
in
how
India.
how do you find them? Like, is it Fiverr, Upwork, or what? What's your usual procedure?
I think the best way is like you just reach out to your followers. You ask them, hey, if anyone wants to work with me, and you can fill out the Google form. Next best part is you can reach out to, you can just post on LinkedIn. Hey, I am looking for editors. Someone will reach out to you then, or you can create a Google form.
Makes sense. Great. I mean, how much on an average did you spend editing them? Like one video, let's say a 10 to 15 minute long video with all the motion graphics and all of that. Like, just curious, like how long did you take?
I mean, it'll be hard to give you exact. It depends on the effort they put in. So depends on how much effort they put in. They charge, and it could be even as high as $200 for a video, or it could be as low as $50 or less than that for a video. So it's hard to give an exact answer, but it depends on the effort they put in. But
Fantastic.
I don't have any full time editors, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Excellent. Before we end this podcast, I want to ask you what have been your important learnings from the YouTube algorithm?
Sure. I think my most important learning is that, like, first goal should be about value creation. Like you should genuinely feel like that your video should add some sort of value, whether it could be just entertainment value, like just entertaining with your personal life or whatever it is, but it should have some sort of value, like entertainment value, or like educational value. You're teaching them how to travel to a new city, or maybe teaching them how to study abroad, or some sort of value like about becoming a better coder, software engineer. If at the end of the day you are able to add some sort of value, it works out.
But you have never sort of zeroed in on what might be something that has a potential to go viral and wanted to make a video on purpose to do that. Have you ever done that, or is it just like, okay, this is what I want to talk about and this is what I want to make the video about?
I mean, I never tried to do that. It just works out. I mean, it was never in my mind that I would do this and the video will go viral. I mean, maybe I had thought that going to MIT videos can go viral because MIT was a big hype for many Indian students. But like going to other universities like John Hopkins and doing a challenge, which I did, I didn't have any like estimate how much views it will get. It just worked out that some most popular videos at Ames, Delhi, and John Hopkins University. I mean, I never guessed it.
Yeah, you never know, I guess, what the algorithm does, and I think it also has to do with the timing of the video, probably the thumbnail, and how much you can hook people up in the first 30 seconds. So yeah, fantastic. Harnoor, it was great chatting with you. I think you gave a lot of insights, especially because at least in my friend circle, I don't know anyone who came here for for bachelors. So great insights. Especially the scholarship part, right? I mean, getting to know that people can do their education for free, how to work out internships